Hey, this is Dave Brenner, guitar player for Theory of a Dead Man. You're listening to Geekcast Radio Network.
You're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Unleash the geek in you. Welcome to the Panic Room.
Hello and welcome to Geekcast Radio. This is Rockin' Radio. Okay, it's a new subgenre of Geekcast Radio. It's not going to happen all the time, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TFG and Mike. We are in the middle of the Syndication Nation Spotlight here on GCR. You would have just heard episode 68, which was the Star Joe's podcast crew talking about how they get into podcasting. And now, in between 68 and 69, we're going to have Rockin' Radio. And why am I doing this? Well, because one out of the 5 things that come out of Canada that I actually love, everything else is just kind of strange, is Theory of a Dead Man, one of the best rock bands of this generation, at least of the last 12, 14 years. Last year, 2 years ago, my buddy Matrix Prime over at TF Wire joined me to do an overall on them and talk about their new album at the time. The truth is, we are back to talk about their 5th studio record, Savages. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Your second favorite thing to come out of Canada was Nickelback, right?
Yes, it was. Notice I put Theory first because everybody's going to hate on me if I put Nickelback first. Then it's Default, then it's Finger 11, and then it's probably Ryan. I don't know. Not that he'll ever listen to this. Savages is Theory's 5th studio album. They released a YouTube teaser with a little bit of a guitar riff and a little bit of water sounds from the first single, Drown. And as soon as I saw it pop up in my playlist, I'm like, Twitter, Matrix Prime, here, look, new Theory of a Dead Man, yes!
Yeah, I remember getting this, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I need to check it out, because I was at work. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yes, it is very awesome. This is the one band that I don't mind. It's been 3 years between albums, honestly. I mean, because, as I said 2 years ago in our Theory of a Dead Man Spotlight, which I will put in the post for anyone who hasn't listened to that, I can listen to almost every one of their previous songs up until this album. Not saying this album is bad, which it isn't at all. There's just a couple of little minor nitpicks I have about it, but it doesn't overall ruin my enjoyment. So then, as the release came up, I saw them doing behind-the-scenes making of Savages, and I linked all those to you, which those will also be in the show notes. I love these guys. These guys are just really, really great guys. I don't know. What was your initial thought when you first heard a couple of the what were the first singles you heard? Because there were 4. There was Drown, Below, Angel, and what was the 4th one? Crap. Drown, Angel, Below, and I don't remember what the 4th one was.
One was either. Was Drown the first one?
Yep.
As soon as I heard that, the only thing that came to my mind was that this is drastically different than anything I'd heard from them before. Right. And it was like very heavy, and I'm like, I wonder if the whole album is going to be like that. And then I started hearing some of the other singles, and I'm like, yeah, it looks like it's starting to look that way.
Yeah, the self-titled track "Savages" featuring Alice Cooper was the 4th single.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when I heard Drown, I was like, okay, this is a little different. I can get behind it, though. And then they released Angel, And I was like, okay, well, this is basically their classic ballad.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
at least one song per album has to be a ballad for them. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying. And then Blow came out, and I was like, oh, interesting. When Savages came out, I really dug it, and then there's a spoken word track. Not that I'm against doing that. It just the way it's advertised on iTunes is the track says Savages featuring Alice Cooper, and I thought, oh, cool. I want to hear Tyler Connolly and Alice Cooper's singing voices together.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw that.
That's what I wanted to hear, and come to find out, Mr. Alice Cooper, the rock god that he is doing a spoken word track. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. So you've had a chance to listen to the album a few listens through. What are your overall impressions?
Well, like I said, actually, let me go to this article that I have here real quick, because I think it is a good summation of like what the article is. This is over on Kerrang.com, I guess is how you pronounce this. Mm-hmm. And this says, I'm just reading the article here. It says, Savages isn't your typical Theory of a Dead Man album, according to frontman Tyler Connolly. It's such a different record for us, he says. I'm known as the guy who writes all the breakup songs. It would have been typical to write more, so I did just the opposite. There's something very brutal about our culture. I got nightmares from Terminator as a kid, and now you can watch real murders on YouTube. We're so desensitized. I went from writing about crazy women to how screwed up we are. That's the theme. And I think that summation right there exactly sums it up, because this album is extremely heavy, like musically.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there's like hard driving guitar riffs and just the drums in the tracks. It's like very heavy and weighty.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is as soon as I listened to the full album, I immediately tore 2 tracks apart. I mean like literally through Audacity and all that stuff. Like I was like, okay, I want this in the show and I want this in the show. As soon as I heard Panic Room and as soon as I heard Heavy, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta find some ways to get these into this podcast episode. And I mean, it's just, overall for me, the album's great. There are a couple of things that take me out of it a little bit. It's more so one song than anything else. I honestly think it would have been better if this was 12 tracks instead of 13. But all right, so how we're going to do this is we're going to go track by track. We're going to briefly give our opinions on each one. Track 1 is Drowned. We've kind of really already talked about this. I do think that the guitar, the heavy guitar, the heavy drums on it are great. It's interesting that they're using water this time around on at least actually 2 of the tracks. But using that effect is classic Theory, because in one of their other songs from The Truth Is, I think it was Bitch Came Back. They used like a ring, like a diamond ring dropping to the floor, and it makes a sound.
Yep.
And I really dug Drowned. I think I listened to it a little too much. So when the album came out, when the full album came out, I'm like, okay, what else they got? What were your opinions on Drowned?
Well, I think based on what I'm going to say here, you can probably guess which way I'm going to go here on like my overall thoughts of the album. But I'm not a big fan of the heavy, weighty sound. Which, like I said at the beginning here, I think seems like a drastic departure from the stuff that they had done before. A lot of the stuff they had done before, or at the very least, a lot of the stuff that I like from them. So that song in particular, I do sort of like it. It is a different sound for them, I believe, but it's a little too weighty for me.
Did you see? I think I sent you the link to the actual, not the lyric video, but the actual video.
Yeah. Yep.
They shot for it. The video for this song is I didn't get it. I understand the song and I understand the lyrics in the song. I just don't get the imagery they're using in the video.
Yeah, I was a bit baffled by that as well.
Yeah, that was a little strange. All right, so track 2 is Blow, and the opening lines to this, sometimes it makes me want to blow my fucking head off. Sometimes it makes me think the world has gone officially insane.
Come on, tell us like it is.
It's so great that these guys can do what other artists try to do and fail. No, I mean, this song is essentially talking about how crazy pop culture and the internet. I mean, all the stuff that happens on the internet. I mean, hell, he even sings about Kim Kardashian for all things.
Yep.
You know, it's like, and the song is so right. I mean, this world has really gone insane.
Yeah, I think the lyrics accurately capture like the current state of our society, and the overall sound in this song is also heavy, but it's not quite as heavy as Drown, which I liked a little bit better. But I think I actually like Drown a little bit more than I liked Blow here.
I think Blow kind of reminds me of something. It kind of reminds me of one of the more, I don't want to say poppy because they don't do pop songs really. They do ballads more than anything. This song is not a ballad, but it reminds me more of like, what's that title track on The Truth? Not the title track. The first single off of The Truth Is. It kind of, Blow reminds me of Low Life when they were talking about low lifes on that track on The Truth Is.
Okay, yeah.
That's what this reminds me of. Track 3 is the title track of the album, Savages, featuring Alice Cooper. As I already said, this is the one of the things about this album that I wish they would release a version of this without the spoken word. Because I love the song overall. It's just, I think Alice is out of place.
Yeah, I think as a title song, it sort of misses the mark, and I think it is because of Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
But but yeah, maybe it'd be a little bit better if they did release a version of that without him.
Mm-hmm. As soon as I heard track 4, Misery of Mankind, I thought of Mick Foley, and this could be his new entrance music. Misery of Mankind has a hook in it that is you just can't stop listening to.
Yeah, and then, again, this is another song that's like really, really heavy. And I think it's also a good take on like the current culture and society, which seems to be a running theme through a number of the songs here.
Yup. Yep. Because with track 5, you have Salt in the Wound. And this one, the intro is great. I love how they do, and I don't know, because I've seen some of the negative iTunes reviews, not that I pay too much attention of it, but sometimes because depending on what the media is, Theory is probably my number one favorite current band. They have been since they debuted. I sometimes look at the negatives and see what people are saying, and a lot of people on iTunes and I hate people that do this. They'll put a title on their review and they'll just write one word, auto-tuned, and it's like, really, seriously, come on. Now, am I saying that this album is not overly produced? Probably not. I'm not saying that at all. There is a lot of production behind this, but the repetitive line at the beginning of Salt in the Wound, I really did dig that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this song here is more of a throwback to something that I would normally listen to on their previous albums. I mean, this is clearly a take on issues with women, right?
Yeah.
Or a woman in particular.
Yes. Hi, Christine. Track 6 is Angel, and track 6 is the mandatory rock ballad that they have to do every album. Every time I listen to Angel, it reminds me so much of Not Meant to Be a little bit.
Definitely, and that's probably why it's my favorite song in the album. Because if you remember back from, if you guys have listened to the podcast we had done previously about Theory of a Dead Man, I specifically called out that that song was my absolute favorite. So in this album, I'm almost positive that Angel is going to be my favorite. But I think it's also sorry. I think it's also a
No, go
huge
ahead.
distinction between it and the other tracks on the song because, like you said, it is more of a ballad,
Yeah.
rather than that heavy, weighty sound that the other tracks seem to have, or a lot of the other tracks seem to have.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you look at track 6 through track 9, what they did was they bookended two heavy songs with two ballads because
Yep.
track 6 is Angel and track 9 is called The One. Track 7 and 8 are Heavy and Panic Room. Heavy is
It
awesome.
lives up to his name.
Oh, it does. And it's basically a song about being a musician. And the way I look at it and what I wrote in my notes was it's more so a song about being a concert goer than anything else because it was like, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, again, musically, it's just like heavy. It's pounding. If you want a song to get pumped up to, this is probably the one.
The intro to track 8 called Panic Room is probably the only Theory of a Dead Man song in their history that I've ever actually headbanged to. that opening, welcome to and it just brings you in. It's like, oh my god. I wouldn't say this album is all over the place. I would say that so far in the 8 tracks that they've got on here, they're crafting a. It's kind of like, God, I can't believe I'm going to do this with Theory of a Dead Man of all things.
Oh, watch out!
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that old Robert Frost poem, Two Roads in a Yellow Wood, where the truth is one side of one road you can take, and Savages is a completely different journey because what they're doing here is they're basically mixing songs, like I said before, between heavy and soft. They're basically taking Scars and Souvenirs and The Truth Is and mashing them together with these new songs.
Yeah, I can see that.
What did you think of Panic Room?
Whatever that opening sound is, like before they actually start singing, I don't know what
Yeah.
that sound is, but it like instantly pulls you into the song.
It does.
And then yeah, that chorus, like "Welcome to the Panic Room,"
Yeah.
it definitely hooked me.
Really does.
But again, if I tend to like more of their softer tracks, so this
Right.
one again very heavy musically, but it is one that I can definitely listen to.
Yeah. I also had visions of Jodie Foster when I was listening to this, since she was in that movie Panic Room. Track number 9 is called The One. And as I said, a minute ago, they are mixing the heavier with a couple of the ballads.
Totally thrown off by the start of this one.
Really?
I mean, it starts with the piano, and you don't hear any other instrument until like let's see, I've got it right here. Until a minute 35 seconds into the track.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hey, that's again. I think what they're doing, Theory of a Dead Man with Savages, they are experimenting, but they're not experimenting in a bad way. They're giving us certain things that we've never heard from them before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't say placating, but they're making their older fans, the fans that loved the self-titled album, the fans that love the heavier stuff, they're making those fans happy again.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that said, oh, The Truth is basically just a pop rock phone it in album. I disagree with that. But
Yeah, I love that album.
Yeah. The One, again, it seems like I think more so this one than Angel. This one really, this is the one I wrote the note about, similar to Not Meant to Be.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm wondering with Savages, Blow, Drowned, and Angel being the first 4 singles, I'm wondering what's going to come next, and if they do The One as a single, what the video is going to look like, because the Not Meant to Be video was amazing.
I love that music video.
Yeah. Here's track 10 is a complete departure from anything they've ever done.
Although I can easily see this one being one that gets played on like pop stations.
I mean, hell, it's gonna have to be played on country stations for who the guest star is. So, track 10 is called "Living My Life Like a Country Song," and it features Joe Don Rooney of Rascal Flatts. I guarantee you, if I call my local country station, 97.5 WAMZ here in Louisville, Kentucky, tomorrow morning or Monday morning, and say, "Hey, do you guys have 'Living My Life Like a Country Song'?" They're either gonna say no or yeah, we'll play it next. Because I'm telling you, this is something that they've never done before, and this is something that I could hear on country radio, even though they're a rock band.
Yeah, definitely country radio. I would say pop stations. This is definitely something that's more of like the mainstream song that you would hear on those type of stations.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, my note says this reminds me of "Hate My Life," except it's countryfied.
I can see that a little bit, yeah.
What'd you think of this one?
Like I said, this is definitely one that I can see playing on the radio, and if it does get that radio play, probably would become my favorite from the album. Like I said, currently I think my favorite is what did I say was
Angel.
Yeah, Angel, and then probably The One. But like I said, if this gets more radio play, or if this actually gets radio play, if I listen to that over and over and over again, just like I did for Not Meant to Be, this would probably end up being my favorite from the album. And I'm not even a huge country fan, so.
It's funny. I wasn't I grew up in Massachusetts. Everybody knows this. Well, you may not, but all the listeners that are listening to this will know this. I moved to Louisville, Kentucky in 1993, and I've lived here off and on for the last 20 some odd years. I was a very gullible 13-year-old in 1993 because I figured, oh my God, my world is shattering around me. I'm moving to a new state, a new city, no one I know. And what's going to soothe me? Okay, music. Do they have, the mix station? Do they have the top 40? Do they have all this stuff? And all as my dad would ever play is the country music station. I'm like, really? Serious? I was actually, until one Sunday, I got brave enough. And I don't know why. I was a stupid teenager, people. One Sunday, I got brave enough to change the damn radio station because I figured, oh, it's Kentucky. All they have is country music. All right. Track number 11 is World War Me. My notes here. It's another one of my favorite tracks from Savages. I love the story behind it. It also reminds me of that short-lived NBC series, My Own Worst Enemy, starring Christian Slater. It's a song about realizing your own faults. And I found it very interesting that they would write this. Like, I don't think I've ever heard them do something like this before, as far as like the story within the song.
Yeah.
What about you on this one?
I agree with you about the story of the song. It definitely seemed like something different, but to me, just musically, the track seemed to get lost amongst the others just because it was also another heavy track, and there were songs that came before it that I actually liked a lot better than this. And to me, it's towards the end of the album, it just seemed to get lost.
A little bit. And the next one, track 12, which in my personal opinion should have been the final track on this album. I might actually remove the 13th song from my playlist and just play the 12 tracks. I don't know yet. I haven't decided on that.
Bye-bye 13.
This feels like a remnant from Scars and Souvenirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really, really does. And it's like, wow, cool. What about you on In Ruins?
This one is definitely a slower version or a slower song than a lot of the other ones that come before it. But it's definitely still very much rock. And
it is, yeah.
And so it's definitely up there on my favorites from the album.
Okay, so outside of Living My Life as a Country Song, which it does rock, but it is a little slow. That we have Angel, The One, and In Ruins as the 3 ballads out of 13 tracks. That's pretty damn good for them that they managed to get 9 tracks, not counting 9 tracks. I can't do math, ladies and gentlemen. 9 tracks, not counting Living My Life as a Country Song. 9 tracks of heavy music. The fans of this band better be really happy that they brought all the heavy stuff back. And then comes the evil redheaded stepchild of the album. The Sun Has Set on Me. First of all, I love the title, but
Yeah, definitely good title.
this is going to be the biggest departure they've. I mean, when Tyler said they went the complete opposite way, of course they did, because this is, first of all, 90% of the song is a children's choir. um, and then there's that weird crow sound effect, and it ends with water cascading over something. So this album, as I said earlier, effectually begins and ends with water.
Maybe that's just to bring it full circle.
I guess. Thankfully, Creed hasn't made another album in the last 3 years. Or 5 years, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sun Is Set on Me, it's by far my least favorite track on the album. I think it's completely out of place. Even as a final track, it's too weird of a song for me. I don't know. Maybe your opinion can sway me, but it's yeah.
Well, like you, I like the title of the song. Again, it's another. They started the album with a very heavy song. This is another heavy song, but unlike the others, it's a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the unique aspect here was like the children's choir in the background during the chorus, which, yeah, it seems like it's kind of odd, but I actually didn't mind it as much as you seem to. But it doesn't seem like it sort of fits with the rest of the songs.
No, that's why I don't. Yeah, that's kind of why I don't like it. Because it does, like I said, it's the redheaded stepchild of the album. It doesn't really fit.
Maybe they were just trying to pull their best Pink Floyd.
Oh, God. I can now see them doing a cover of The Wall Part 2. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God. Yes, you're right. Oh, my God. The Wall Part 2 and The Sun Has Set on Me. Oh, my God. They both have children's choirs in them. Oh, my God.
They do.
You're right.
Yep.
Crap. When I was listening through the album, because I've listened to all 13 tracks from track 1 to track 13 over and over again before we did this episode. I've listened to the album probably 6 different times before we recorded this. It's still, The Sun Has Set on Me still, it takes me out of the experience of a Theory of a Dead Man album. It really does. And I'm not sitting here trying to say the song is not bad.
Right.
It's just,
you don't think it fits in with the theme of the rest of the tracks on the...
No, and I think it's, like, I'm not really all for change, because change is bad, and we all know this, but it's like, it's one of those things where, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. It's just one of those things for me where it's too much of a departure. I don't know. So we are going to, did you have anything else for Sun Is Set on Me?
Nope. I think that's about it.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our final thoughts and ratings after this.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
My God, what have I done? We could have had it all, but I made you run. Oh, where did I go wrong? I'm living my life like a country song.
All right, folks, we are back. Final thoughts on Savages, sir.
Overall, well, before I give you that, let me tell you my 3 favorite albums really quick from them.
Okay.
Just so my rating makes sense here. Okay. So my top 3 is probably Scars and Souvenirs, Theory of a Dead Man, and then The Truth Is. And a lot of the songs on those 3 albums I found to be more of like the type of rock that I listen to. Not very heavy, not very light, but just more of like the rock. There is like a number of like ballad songs on there, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I would say that Not Meant to Be is one of them from Scars and Souvenirs.
Right.
And that's typically what I lean towards, the sound that I typically lean towards from them. So when I was listening to this album, I found it to be very heavy and weighty, and the majority of the tracks I would say on the album are that. And for me, it's just not really something that I thoroughly enjoy. But the lighter songs, the more ballad-esque songs, so like Angel or The One or Living My Life Like a Country Song, for example, those I really actually enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to listening to them over and over again. And I'm hoping some of those actually get some radio play. I don't know. I know rock is quote unquote dead, so
No, it's not.
well, the rock stations here, anyways, they typically play just like classic rock. And if you want to hear more quote unquote newish rock, it's really more up on the pop stations. So I'm hoping that some of these songs get some play on there because I'd really love to one see the band get some recognition, and two really get into these songs here. So I guess overall for me, the heavier, weightier song that's kind of a throwback. Not really a big fan of. I liked some of the lighter, more poppy and like ballad-esque songs. So.
What's your overall star rating?
So I'm looking at your rating system here, and I would say I'd probably give it somewhere between barely passing and liked it.
Okay, so 3 and 3.5 stars. Yeah. For me, I am going to give it 4 stars out of 5. 4 stars is really liked it. It's just one thing. It's that
Damn
that
you,
last
track 13.
I know. Well, hey, track 13. There you go. It's whole evil. 13 is an evil number.
Lucky 13.
Exactly. It's just that one, and it's so weird because I will be sitting here with my headphones on, like iTunes not at probably at more like 44% than my usual 20% when I don't have my headphones on. So I'm sitting here really rocking out to it, and I'm sitting here playing Grand Theft Auto 4, which came out like 7, 8, 9 years ago, however long it came out. And and I'm sitting here, and I'm going around shooting people in this game and whatever else, and all of a sudden I hear a crow, and I'm like, oh. 4 out of 5 is not bad. 3.5 out of 5 is not bad. It's not a perfect album. As far as my overall, since we did the Theory episode a couple of years ago, my favorite's probably, I'm going to do a little bit of a reversal on yours. My favorites are probably going to be Scars and Souvenirs, The Truth Is, and the self-titled, the first album. This one is like right after that. I do love a lot of the songs on Gasoline. I love that special edition song that they did, Lynchburg Lemonade.
I like that song too, yeah.
I thought that was a really cool friggin' song. I think what stops me from putting Savages in like a number 2 or a number 3 spot out of the albums is it's track 13. It all revolves around track 13. For me, you already mentioned your favorite songs. For me, on my favorite songs, I love World War Me, Living My Life Like a Country Song, Panic Room, Heavy, and Misery of Mankind. I do really enjoy Angel and the other ballads, but I'm really digging the heavy sound on this one. All right, you have got a whole new thing you're doing. Would you like to pimp out your oh God, I just told you it was a great title and I forgot the damn title. Fuck. Your
Digital Static.
Okay, Digital Static. I was gonna say Digital Sin, but that's a whole other podcast and a whole other area.
Is that one already taken?
Digital Sin. It's a porn production company.
Oh, so it's probably already taken.
Yeah. Yes. Why don't you tell the folks about Digital Static, your new podcast?
All right, well, this, unlike Digital Sin, there's no nudity here. Sorry, folks. So I decided to start up a new podcast, and I'm calling it Digital Static. You can head on over to digitalstaticpodcast.com if you want. There's not really anything there right now. But I will be uploading or providing the links to the new podcast there. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm at Matrix Prime, or at Matrix_Prime, I guess. I've released the links for the podcast there, so you can give them a listen. But it's essentially just me podcasting and talking about essentially whatever topics I want to. I usually, or have been, having a theme for each show. So my very first show, I talked about camping. Second show that I just released, I'm talking about board games. And next week, I'm going to be talking about the Ninja Turtles because the new Ninja Turtle movie's coming out. So,
Awesome. Very cool, very cool. All right, coming up next here on Geekcast Radio, you're going to get episode 69, where we go in back of a Dollar General store to find some horrors with the Punisher Body Count crew. Unleash the geek in you, and we will catch you next time.
You've just listened to Geekcast Radio on the Geekcast Radio Network. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. First, visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on all of our different podcasts. Second, you can rate our show and leave us feedback in iTunes. Third, follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio. Fourth, become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekcastRadio. Call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for and your name. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.